Access Matters Aotearoa Trust. And we have Juliana and Joanne here. And we've got 10 minutes for your submission. So over to you. Welcome to use all of that time. We'll leave some time for questions. Thank you.
Kia ora. Tēnā koutou e te komiti. Ko Juliana toko ingoa. My name is Juliana. My name in sign language is the J rolling, my wheelchair. I'm here today on behalf of the Access Matters Aotearoa Trust. We lead a movement calling for a more inclusive country, committed to removing barriers and ensuring full participation of disabled people. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to our submission opposing the repeal of the Plain Language Act 2022. This act is about fairness. It ensures that people can understand essential information from the government, information that affects their health, housing, income, and ultimately their rights. Repealing it would disproportionately harm disabled people, Tangata Whakaha Māori, Whānau Hawa, deaf people, and others who already face barriers to participation. This is not a niche accessibility issue. It's about how the public service treats people. And why does it matter? Well, because we hear stories every week about how hard it is to understand the very systems that mean to support people. People are exhausted, they are stressed, and when the government communications are dense, full of jargon, poorly structured, or hard to understand, people give up, or even worse, they miss out on their rights. So that's not good enough. The Plain Language Act simply requires public agencies to write documents that are appropriate to the audience, clear, concise, and well organized. And that means forms for benefits or housing, immigration documents, health instructions. It means helping people to access their rights without needing a lawyer or an advocate. And this act does it at no cost to the taxpayer. The Public Service Commission confirmed that no new staff were hired. The plain language officers are existing staff with added duties. There is no administrative burden here. It's only public benefit. We are very concerned about the repeal because it sends the message that communication is optional, that equity is too hard, that accessibility is a nice to have and not a necessity. And that really is unacceptable. Disabled people face barriers in every aspect of life. We don't need more. The Plain Language Act gave agencies just a hint how to do better, and they are doing better. And this is about human rights. It's about utility. It's about respect. So we really urge you, keep the act. Don't go backwards. And I would now like to pass to my new friend, Joanne Marshall, who's deaf and neurodiverse and a proud supporter of the Access Matters Aotearoa. To you, Joanne.
Thank you, Julia. I just want to add and support Julia and Access Matters by saying that the plain language bill actually helps neurodiverse individuals by introducing cognitive load, improving understanding and minimizing stress, making public information easier to access, navigate, and act on independently. It's making the public information, it also improves inclusion, autonomy, and equal participation in services, workplaces, and society. For our deaf community members like myself, plain language benefits deaf community members by providing clear, direct communication, and it's easier to translate into New Zealand Sign Language and supports better understanding for those who use English as a second language. And it reduces miscommunication, supports autonomy as well, and ensures equal access to the vital public information and services. But not only that, the Plain Language Act is also harmful, and the Repeal Act is harmful because it removes critical tool for accessible communication, increases barriers for disabled, neurodiverse, and culturally diverse communities, It also undermines the government's obligations under the Human Rights Act 1993 and the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and Te Tirereta o Waitangi, and I can't pronounce because of my deafness, but failing to uphold disability and human rights protections. And the research by the OECD shows that inclusive communication practices like plain language reduce downstream costs in the future. It improves service performance and it increases public trust. These measures are fiscally neutral when integrated into existing systems. As Juliana said, there's no additional cost to do this. It's just incorporating and practicing the inclusiveness and understanding, and supporting good governance, legal accountability, and public sector efficiency without incurring added cost, like I said. So I would like to support, Access Matters in opposing the Act, because it doesn't give us in the disability sector, like myself, who is deaf and neurodiverse, to hold people accountable. And I have plenty of first-hand stories that I could share. So I come here passionately in that support to say, please leave it.
And we're now open for questions. Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, thank you both so much for your amazing submission. And we do have your written submission here too. We do have some questions from the committee members, but also I think, Joanna, you mentioned an OECD report. And I just wondered if it would be possible to maybe send the committee a copy of that, just so we can make sure that we've got that on our record too. That would be really helpful. My first question from the committee is Andy Foster.
Juliana and Joanne, thank you very much for your comments. I think, Juliana, you said that that a lot of material that people are having to use is still very confusing. The Plain Language Act is now, it's only 3 years old, but I just wanted two parts to that. One is, are you saying that some organisations are not doing what they are supposed to do in terms of the Plain Language Act, in terms of the material they provide? And the second question for both of you is, are you seeing any change since the Act came in terms of the comprehensive, the ease of comprehension of material which you're having to deal with?
Yes. So as Access Matters representative, I engage with a lot of people from different backgrounds, including a lot of people with learning disabilities. And I can give you a very recent example from trying to navigate the work and income website and information. It's overload of information for people. I also am very engaged in the migrant community, and same as deaf people, English is the second language. So any big words and complexities make hard to understand.
Thank you. We do have another question from Tim Costley.
Thank you both for taking the time to submit today. We've heard from a number of disability groups who have also mentioned some other access challenges. Some of them, one group that came here, literally physical access to the building. Others have mentioned things like Braille, or even being able to find information, let alone, challenges of understanding it. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to maybe cover any other sort of accessibility issues across government you may want to comment on.
Sure. I would like to step in on that and talk about relay services, where us deaf use relay to phone hearing people. Government departments are the worst. I get hung up on, I get treated rudely. The social media I see as an aspect to that disconnect, because I have a person on relay, because I can't use a phone, they are speaking on my behalf. And so the person is not trained to how to be a hearing person on a relay and receive the calls in. The call centres, Justice Department is the worst out of all the government. And then, and then from there, MSD is not that much better, because even though it's talked about at the higher levels, and I've been involved in those communications, It's not filtering down to the front line. Hospitals, they're even worse. I've had to fight for my basic human needs in hospital as a neurodivergent when I had 3 seizures in 1 week. And we actually set up the interpreter to come in online, and the doctor avoided the time set that the interpreter was there on purpose because I don't sound deaf to the hearing people. To my interpreters, I sound deaf. But to hearing people, because I have good, oral skills, they wanted to challenge. They were trying to force me to actually communicate like an ableist person.
Thank you.
All of those attitudes, it just doesn't filter down, and that makes it even more stress on my brain. And therefore, I turn to the plain language in those moments to actually look and find a way through.
So I understand our time is up, but I just want to add, we know people who are blind receiving correspondence in print for the past 20 years. It's very simple to solve. And when you ask about other accessibility issues, we've been advocating for comprehensive accessibility legislation with enforceable standards for 10 years. So definitely we need to do better. And people need to feel that they belong and they have rights.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much for your submission today and also for your challenges to us as a committee. And I'm sure that we will remember those and try and take some action in order to address some of those concerns. So really appreciate your time today and thank you so much for being with the committee. Kia ora.
Thank you.